Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. This is Penal Code 31, aiding and abetting, California Penal Code 31. All persons concerned in the commission of a crime, whether it be felony or misdemeanor, and whether they directly commit the act, constituting the offense or aid and abet in its commission, LAPD, or not being present, have advised and encouraged its commission, and all persons counseling, advising, or encouraging children under the age of 14 years or persons who are mentally incapacitated to commit any crime. Okay, this is about colluding. California Code, Penal Code 182, dated January 1st, 2023. A, if two or more persons conspire. 1, to commit any crime. 2, falsely and maliciously to indict another for any crime, like Aaron Smith. Or to procure another to be charged or arrested for any crime. 3, falsely to move or maintain any suit, action, or proceeding. Oh no, that's Scientology. 4, to cheat and defraud any person of any property by any means which are in themselves criminal, or to obtain money or property by false pretenses or by false promises with fraudulent intent not to perform those promises. That's Scientology. Okay, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. 5, to commit any act injurious to the public health, to public morals, or to pervert or obstruct justice, or the due administration of the laws. I'm pretty sure that's already been covered. Okay, that's talking about committing crimes against officials. I'm going to skip that because that's not what I'm talking about. When they conspire to commit any other felony, they shall be punishable in the same manner and to the same extent as is provided for the punishment of that felony. If the felony is one for which different punishments are prescribed for different degrees, the jury or court which finds the defendant guilty thereof shall determine the degree of the felony the defendant conspired to commit. If the degree is not so determined, the punishment for conspiracy to commit the felony shall be prescribed. Anyways, I can't read the whole thing. Okay, now I'm going to go. I'll make sure to include these links in the description box. This is from Law Offices of John D. Rogers. Synopsis of common crimes committed by California law enforcement officers, dated February 28, 2023. California, like any other state, has a diverse population, and thus its law enforcement agencies are faced with a wide range of crimes. However, certain types of crimes are more commonly committed by California police officers than others. This article will examine some of the most common crimes committed by California police officers, the reasons for their commission, and the ways in which these crimes are addressed. One of the most common crimes committed by California police officers is misconduct. I think that's actually the lowest charge, too, I think. Misconduct refers to any behavior that is in violation of departmental policies or procedures. This can include things like excessive use of force, abuse of authority, discrimination, and dishonesty. In many cases, misconduct is a result of officers not following proper procedures or using poor judgment. In other cases, it may be a result of officers being corrupt or engaging in criminal behavior. Did you hear that, LAPD? And I'm just going to put one disclaimer because I repeat myself sometimes too much. Make it very clear, I don't mean all police officers. I'm going to only say it once because I get a little too much sometimes. Another common crime committed by California police officers is criminal misconduct, which refers to crimes committed by officers while on duty committed by officers while on duty. This can include things like theft, embezzlement, and drug offenses. These crimes are particularly troubling because they involve officers who are sworn to uphold the law, committing crimes themselves. In many cases, criminal misconduct is a result of officers becoming involved in illegal activities while on duty or using their position of authority to commit crimes. A form of misconduct is police brutality, which refers to excessive use of force by police officers. This can include things like physical assault, sexual assault, and wrongful killings. Police brutality is a serious issue and can have long-term consequences for both the victims and the officers involved. In many cases, police brutality is a result of officers using excessive force in response to a perceived threat or using force to discipline or control suspects. Suspects. Let's just stay on that word for a minute. Suspects. Okay, another common crime committed by California police officers is sexual misconduct. This can include things like sexual assault, sexual harassment, and other forms of unwanted sexual behavior like RAPE, which seems to be getting deleted from the English language. Like it doesn't exist anymore, especially with children. Sexual misconduct is particularly troubling because it involves officers who are sworn to protect and serve the public, like Streets always says. Engaging in criminal behavior in many cases, sexual misconduct is a result of officers using their position of authority to exploit vulnerable individuals. They always do it, like not just police officers. That's a big problem. It could be social workers, it can be counselors, it can be psychologists. It happens all the time, gets covered up all the time. In addressing these crimes, California law enforcement agencies have a number of tools at their disposal. One of the primary tools is internal affairs investigations. Internal affairs investigations are conducted by the agency itself and are designed to identify and investigate misconduct by officers. These investigations can result in disciplinary action, including termination of employment. Another tool for addressing police misconduct is the criminal justice system. Do we still have one of those? Yeah, I know we do. In cases where an officer is suspected of committing a crime, they may be charged and brought to trial. If convicted, they may face jail time, fines, and other penalties. Additionally, there are oversight agencies and boards that monitor the conduct of law enforcement agencies and officers in California, such as Office of Independent Review, OIR, in Los Angeles, the Police Review Commission, PRC, in Berkeley, and the Office of the Inspector General, OIG, in San Francisco. These oversight agencies have the power to investigate complaints, conduct audits, and make recommendations for changes to policies and procedures. That's a big deal. Policies and procedures are a really big deal. In order to prevent these crimes, law enforcement agencies in California have implemented a number of measures to ensure that officers are held accountable for their actions. These include things like regular training on departmental policies and procedures, regular performance evaluations, and ongoing supervision of officers. Additionally, many agencies have implemented early warning systems to identify officers who may be at risk of committing misconduct. Give me just a minute here. Had to get some tea. Okay, this one I just wanted to look up. Okay. This is the penal code that I think this is the one that covers the misconduct. And as I said, I will include links in the description box. California Penal Code 13510.8, dated 2022, A1 A certified peace officer shall have their certification revoked if the person is or has become ineligible to hold office as a peace officer pursuant to Section 1029 of the Government Code. 2. A peace officer may have their certification suspended or revoked. Are you listening, LAPD? If the person has been terminated for cause from employment as a peace officer for, or has, while employed as a peace officer, otherwise engaged in any serious misconduct as described in Subdivision B. B. By January 1st, 2023, the Commission shall adopt by regulation a definition of serious misconduct that shall serve as the criteria to be considered for ineligibility for or revocation of certification. This definition shall include all of the following. LAPD, please pay attention. 1. Dishonesty relating to the reporting, investigation, or prosecution of a crime, or relating to the reporting of or investigation of misconduct. A peace officer or custodial officer, including, but not limited to, false statements, intentionally filing false reports, like arresting Aaron Smith Levin, tampering with, falsifying, destroying or concealing evidence, perjury, and tampering with data recorded by a body-worn camera. Oh, like their body cams. Or other recording device for purposes of concealing misconduct. That's interesting. I wonder if a cell phone would be included. 2. Abuse of power, including but not limited to intimidating witnesses. I wonder if when Aaron Smith Levin was told by whatever that guy's name, Talman, that if he chose to press charges against Dog Guy, that unless he dropped the PPA or the private citizen's arrest, unless he dropped that, because, by the way, he was assaulted, he would be charged with something stalking. I forgot what it was, which by definition, Aaron didn't even fit that. I wonder if that's intimidating witnesses. Knowingly obtaining a false confession and knowingly making a false arrest. I would pretty much say what happened to Aaron covered that one. Which they're going to argue that it wasn't an arrest, but it clearly was. 3. Physical abuse, including but not limited to the excessive or unreasonable use of force. My personal opinion is that I've already seen that. 4. Sexual assault as described in Subdivision B of Section 832.7. 5. Demonstrating bias on the basis of race, national origin, religion, gender, identity or expression, housing status, sexual orientation, mental or physical disability, or other protected status, in violation of law or department policy, or inconsistent with a peace officer's obligation to carry out their duties in a fair and unbiased manner. That definitely is covered in giving Scientologists favoritism. I don't know how it would be applied, though. Lawyers would know that. I don't know if that's, it just seems like it would be. This paragraph does not limit an employee's rights under the First Amendment to the United States Constitution. 6. Acts that violate the law and are sufficiently egregious or repeated as to be inconsistent with a peace officer's obligation to uphold the law or respect the rights of members of the public. Hello? As determined by the Commission. I know this is getting long, guys, and it's dry, but I just feel it's important to talk about. 7. Just so we're all clear on what the law really is, huh? Number 7, participation in a law enforcement gang. Ooh, gang. G-A-N-G. I'm going to be doing some research on that one, too, because that's what Scientologists were trying to set up. For the purpose of this paragraph, a law enforcement gang... Oh, this is different. means a group of peace officers within a law enforcement agency who may identify themselves by a name and may be associated with an identifying symbol, including but not limited to matching tattoos, and who engage in a pattern of on-duty behavior that intentionally violates the law or fundamental principles of professional policing, including but not limited to excluding, harassing, or discriminating against any individual based on a protected category under federal or state anti-discrimination laws, engaging in or promoting conduct that violates the rights of others. Well, clearly that's been happening. Or members of the public violating agency policy, the persistent practice of unlawful detention or use of force in circumstances. I'd like to look up use of force and see what constitutes that. Where it is known to be unjustified, falsifying police reports, fabricating evidence, targeting persons for enforcement based solely on protected characteristics. Somebody needs to research that. Hold on one second. Okay, this is so long, I don't want to cover the whole thing. 8. Failure to cooperate with an investigation into potential police misconduct. Hello? Including an investigation conducted pursuant to this chapter for purposes of this paragraph. Okay, this is getting really long. We all know this has been occurring basically. Failure to intercede when present and observing another officer using force. That is clearly beyond that which is necessary. We know that never happens. Okay, there's a lot here. Sorry for the scrolling. Just want to see if anything else catches my eye. I'll put the link in the description. So you got, notwithstanding any other law, the investigation shall be completed within 3 years after the receipt of the completed report. That's why all those reports that Street was trying to put in, or he was trying to report for misconduct. They were trying to not do it, which is illegal. Okay, this is very long. I thought maybe something else would catch my eyes. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Peace, you guys.